Hey guys, Mighty Gazelle here,
And this is Hero Hei with Mighty Gazelle. We're going to talk about some Samurai Jack, of course.
and we're just going to kind of ramble and give our thoughts about how the finale of the series is going to go. So feel free to listen in and just hang out with us. Comment down below, of course.
I'll be drinking a lot of coffee. He'll be drinking a lot of tea. It's going to be a great discussion.
Very watered down tea. Yeah. So basically, we're just going to kind of cover what we think is going to happen in the finale. A lot of this we have like shared opinion about what's going to happen, but maybe we'll find some differing things to talk about. We don't know. We haven't really talked about
We
it
don't
a whole
know.
lot.
We don't know at all. Yeah.
So
I think we agree with a lot of things, but
Oh yeah, definitely.
who knows? Who knows? Yep, like you said, you never know for
Exactly.
sure.
So I guess we'll just start off with Ashi, because I think she's kind of the most interesting piece in this whole
Ooh,
finale.
Yeah, she's good. She's good.
For anyone who doesn't know, episode 9 revealed something pretty tragic about her, that her actual father of sorts is Aku. Hero speculated this in his videos.
You should hopefully know that.
Yeah, you should. If you're watching this video, I would hope that you've been watching this series up to this point. If not, what are you doing with your life? Go watch it. But I've speculated this, he speculated this, and unfortunately it came true in a very tragic way. Now she's under the control of Aku.
Aku!
And she's taken this just massively powerful form of, like, I don't know what you would call it, but basically it ends with
I see people calling it like Ashki.
Ashki?
Ashki, whatever.
Ashku?
Something like that.
I'll leave that up to
Ashku.
the community.
Or something like that.
I can't
Yeah.
think of a creative name for it, but basically it ends with them standing over Jack. He's defeated, and it's just a massive cliffhanger. So go ahead and share your thoughts as to what you think her ultimate fate is going to be. I think we share an opinion on this, but
The first thing I want to say is let's give a shout out to Jack, because like you said, it's a super powerful form and Ashi was already really strong, but watching that fight, Jack he didn't even struggle. He was struggling because it was Ashi, he didn't want to fight her, but on a level of fighting, Jack was going maybe 5-10% against her, and he was doing fine. That dude is a beast.
If he really wanted to, he could definitely kill her right there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No doubt about it. He's not that she isn't powerful, because as we saw, she had some wicked moves, and I'm sure she has plenty more that we haven't seen in that form, but Jack's sword can obviously hurt her just like it can Aku from what we saw, so
that was awesome. But the question again was, what do we think about Ashi, right? What's
her
gonna
ultimate
happen?
fate, yeah.
I think she'll be freed. I think she'll be okay. What about you?
I agree. I think the writings in the tea leaves, I think this whole season has been kind of building up to them having a quote-unquote happy ending together. Obviously not everything's going to be happy. I don't think there's a scenario where everything's going to be fine, but Gendy is a master of subtle imagery, and I'm sure you noticed this, but she has the prison outfit on as she gets controlled, signifying she's a prisoner of Aku. And someone actually pointed this out to me. She's got a key on her chest on the right, over her heart, and maybe that's maybe that's symbolic as to how she's gonna get freed from this. I don't know. What do you think about that?
It could be. It could be. At first, I thought it was just a squiggly line. Honestly, it's a
I
very
thought so
squiggly
too.
key. But then I was like, okay, I guess I could see it. It probably is. It makes sense. It makes sense.
It'd be a very typical ending, oh, your heart will set you free. But I mean, it's kind of fitting. I don't know.
I like this ending more. I'm pretty sure it'll go well for her. I really am. And originally, okay, I get a hunch with things and a vibe, and the vibe I'm getting is that the fact that this Ashi takeover happened in episode 9 and not 10 is gonna lead up to a finale where it's gonna be good. If Ashi got taken over in episode 10, I feel like it would kind of be a done deal. She was kind of screwed.
Definitely.
We get a sad ending. But since it's happening at the end of 9, it's on a cliffhanger. The tension has to release, and I think it's going to be released in a good way. Originally though, back I think almost a month ago, I was leaning more towards Ashi dying. Now of course that was 4 episodes ago. I made a video saying Ashi's terrible end,
which I don't think has any merit, but feel free to think that. Feel free to think that if you want. It's definitely possible. We're not ruling it out, but you know.
It is still possible, and I was kind of relating it to the ending in Gurren Lagann, or not the whole ending because there were still episodes left. I don't know if you've seen that, but it sucks to spoil this for anyone, but there's a character who's kind of like the girlfriend of one of the main characters, and once the big bad guy is defeated, she just disappears. And I could kind of see that going on with Ashi back then. Not anymore, like I said. My opinion changed, but this is kind of what I was thinking before. Once Aku is defeated by Jack, since Ashi's like tied to Aku, she would just kind of vanish, and it would be like, oh my god. But
Yeah,
luckily, I don't think that's the case now.
A lot of people have been tying this scenario to what happened to Jack in the Aku infection. I don't know if you know about that episode.
Oh yeah, yep.
So there's definitely a lot of similarities, but I think there's a key difference in that Jack was his own person before he got infected by Aku, versus Ashi, whose literal like birth is tied to Aku's essence. So I'm not entirely sure how that's going to play out, whether if you destroy Aku, if she'll like die. That would be very tragic.
Vanish.
If that was the case. I think that either the gods will come into play. That's a whole different thing on its own, because the gods are still out there, but they've shown very little interest in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's
Freaking,
a whole different like debate, because they're pretty lazy gods.
Remember the Minions of Set episode when Ra comes down and like beats the Minions of Set for Jack, and
Yep.
he's like, oh, by any chance, do you know if there's a time portal
And just
around
flies
here?
away.
And it just like looks at him and just like turns around, like just leaves, doesn't even say
Yeah,
anything.
it's kind of. I guess we can talk about it briefly. I wonder if the gods are doing this to like test him for some reason. You know, I apologize for my dog in the background. He's very excited over something, but hopefully
It's
it's
all
not picked
good.
up too much. But yeah, the gods are definitely like an interesting thing. You know, no one
They really are.
knows. Like they could come in and just send Jack to the past against his own free will for all we know, but I doubt that would happen.
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely something up with them. Like they must have a goal, because they were trying to kill Aku, and they obviously know about him being in the world, and they probably could have finished him off. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they think. Who knows? Just to speculate. Maybe they think like they have to be he has to be defeated by a human or something. I don't know. Like a purely righteous being, not like some mortal god, like immortal god. Like maybe we want like a mortal human of pure righteousness to defeat the evil Aku.
Yeah,
I don't know. Could be.
I hope they're at least like shown in some way just to get some closure on them, because it'd be kind of weird if we just don't see them like in the finale at all. I don't know, but also people are saying that Ashi might be able to open a portal because she's like part Aku, and maybe that she'll
I've
like
seen that,
sacrifice
yeah.
herself to like bring him back. I don't think that's terribly likely, but who knows?
I don't think it's very likely either. I mean, we don't know the extent of Ashi's powers as an Aku form,
Yeah.
And I don't really see too much of a point in that happening either. I mean, this whole buildup has been to hint at Jack staying in the current time. For Ashi to be able to do that, why even... It just seems like an unnecessary plot point in the 22 minutes that we have of the final episode.
And I think that's the bittersweet punch we're gonna get, is that Jack will be happy in the future, but obviously his family in the past, suffered and died. And,
Yep.
But,
I agree. Yeah, it definitely sucks for them. I mean, like if you think about it, like just think about it for a second. Like I say, it sucks for them, but like think about it. No, it like really, really sucks for them. Like their life was garbage. Like, they raised the son as their only hope. While Jack was training, like his whole village, his father were like freaking being tortured and enslaved. And then like the mother was like living with monks the whole time in the mountains, like in hiding with the sword. And then he finally goes, he's finally winning, and then he's flown like away. Then there's no sword, no Jack. They're just screwed, entirely screwed their whole life.
And then no one knows the exact amount of time that happens between him being flung to the future, but it's estimated like thousands of years, because there's the scene where he goes back to his village and it's all like worn down through a long period of time. And there's obviously a lot of suffering outside of Jack's family, but that's his main like reason to want to go back. So I think that covers Ashi pretty well. I don't think we missed anything on that front.
Let me ask you kind of a random question.
Okay.
It's not even really too important. I'm just kind of curious, but like, so like the Green Warrior, man, the Omen, I'm a big fan of that guy. I like that guy.
Yeah.
Why do you think they made him look so like regular or slender almost, like on the horse, and then when he finally appeared, he was like this bigger form? You think what do you think was up with that?
I think part of it has to do with just Yandy's art style in general, because a lot of times he draws characters in different ways, like kind of like Jack's hallucinations. How sometimes they look almost like Picasso and a little bit different, and other times they look like generally normal.
Like the red Jack was all like big.
Yeah. The Green Warrior is super interesting, and I think his ending was kind of anticlimactic. Like not like in a bad way. It just felt like there could have been something more to him. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting that you bring that up.
I was kind of hoping there'd be a little more to him too.
But I think what he involved in the story was fine. I think it was a nice push, like for Jack emotionally. 'Cause because that is a thing for samurai, right? Like that is their code to do that. What's it called? Seppuku.
Seppuku, yeah.
Seppuku.
It was like he played that very well. It all made sense. But the more I was thinking about it, I was like, not to nitpick. This isn't nitpicking. It's just looking at it from a different way. But I was like, if you cut the Green Warrior out entirely from the whole story, the entire thing could have been the same way. Like you didn't even really need him. With
I think
the way
it adds
ended.
a nice layer though. Like it kind of like hones in what he's feeling. It gives a reason behind it.
It does. But like I'm saying, like technically, like if you cut the Green Warrior out, he would still see the Blue Jack. He would still have the doubt. He still would have like thought he killed the kids. He still would have tried to commit seppuku. Everything would have been the exact same. But yeah, it had like I said, a nice little layer. But
I think it's mainly
cool.
for people who don't who aren't able to look a little more in depth. Like if people just kind of, because people like me and you, we can analyze things very well, but I think the general public might not catch on until like Jack's kneeling in front of a sword, what's going on. But yeah, I think he adds a nice just layer to the story. But yeah, Green Warrior, very cool character, and I think they could have done a little bit better in his execution at the very end. But I think it was overall pretty good.
I agree. The last thing I'll say with him is like slightly, I feel like there's a very small percentage chance maybe he comes back in the final episode. Like maybe not even him, but like the ancestors, which would like be a nod to him just because we had that scene that was like hinting at like warriors of the past being shown. So that to me says like maybe we can see Jack's ancestors be shown. He makes peace with them. Doesn't go back to the past. Like it doesn't really have that much to do with the Green Warrior / the Omen, but it was kind of hinted at by him. So that would add another like you said, like another layer of why we had him in the story. So if that happens, I would be happy.
I have another theory about the ancestor thing. I'll get into that in a second. In this next section, I kind of want to bring up what's going to happen with Scotsman's army, because we all know it's going to happen. We all know he's supposed to be in this episode, and he's got his red-haired daughter army. He's got presumably the archers. I'm assuming they're going to meet up because they'll find out Jack's in trouble somehow.
Yep.
Because they've already pledged that they're going to be there for him, so it's kind of obvious they're going to be there, as well as the Woolies. And it'd be great if the Spartans made an appearance, but I don't know if that's going to be like shoehorned or not. I would hope it's done in a good way if that happened, because I think the Spartans are awesome. I think everyone loves the Spartans.
Oh yeah, they're freaking epic.
Yeah, it'd be really cool if that was like the bulk of their army, but if not, So my thought as to how the Scotsman army is going to be used in this is, I think that, first of all, I want to mention, people are saying that why did Aku just take Jack's sword and not let him die right there? Aku's a very, I can see him wanting to bask in the moment of like his mortal enemy, like about to die. Like I feel like Aku will chain him up and spend a good hours monologuing, saying like, "Oh samurai, you've been a thorn in my side for all these years," and he's just gonna have a scene where he's just putting him down.
I agree 110%. I mean,
so when
the dude was freaking depressed because he couldn't beat him, and now you disarm him. That's why he does that. Like he's not going to use the sword to kill Jack.
Exactly.
I mean, like if it would work, maybe he would, because it would be extra evil. But he knows that doesn't really work. So it's more about disarming him. Like, oh, you don't have the sword anymore, and you're giving up. Like you're extra screwed, and I'm just going to do whatever I want.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people saying, well, why didn't he kill them right there? I'm just saying, Aku's a very prideful guy, and he wants to enjoy this moment. Like this is a guy he hates more than anything. So
agreed.
So I think it's going to start off with them, like Ashi under his control still, Aku and Jack in the tower, and he's going to have this big monologue scene of like tormenting Jack. And I think that the army is going to interrupt this session, and I think they're going to like appear outside, and either Aku is going to go fight them, and the army is going to like fight him in a desperate battle, and that's going to give Ashi and Jack some time alone, where Jack's going to try to talk Ashi into fighting this thing that's controlling her, or maybe Ashi's gonna go fight the army, and then in the middle of all this, seeing all these people that care about him so much, it's gonna trigger something. I don't know. There's a lot of ways that this episode as a plot could go down. I want to hear your thoughts as to how you think it's gonna play out.
Yeah, there is. Pretty much. Yeah, I kind of like agree with what you said. I've already made my opinion pretty clear. If you guys have seen my videos, hopefully you have, like, about Ashi being mind controlled, taken over, and then like that's why we have that scene, the famous line now, like, Ashi, please fight. I was always saying that was like more of her fighting. It's not the kind of thing you say when it's a physical fight. Like if Ashi was all together, of course she's gonna fight Aku. Like it really didn't make sense in that context. Like Ashi is fighting Aku, like not being controlled, and he's like, Ashi, please fight. It's like, of course she's gonna fight. So to me, it's like saying like she's gonna be mind controlled. That's what she needs to fight. So I agree with what you said there. Like, now you make a good point about having like it could be either Aku go fight the army or Ashi fight the army. Could be either one for sure. I kind of like the Aku one because, like you said, that gives Ashi and Jack some time there.
Yeah.
And then Jack might be like trying to get Ashi to get out of there, to get herself back. Maybe it works just enough. We'll see how that plays out. But it's interesting because like Aku hasn't been shown to have like an army at his base. He's kind of like dismissed a lot of his people anyway, just to be like chilling. Like he doesn't even want to be bothered by people anymore. So I guess he probably will fight.
If I had to assume, I think you're on the same boat on this. I think the High Priestess is still alive because I don't think her death was like, oh my god, she's definitely dead. I think she could survive an arrow to the back or whatever it is. I think she'll lead, or she'll be there for Aku because they have obviously met, even if it was briefly, and she'll like say, I'll fight this army for you. And I think she'll be there with like a robot scarab army or something like that. Maybe some of the fellow cult members. I think they'll be kind of the bulk of the army, if I had to guess. Maybe some mercenaries thrown in there because there's a lot of mercenaries that are helping Aku. So
yeah, it could be something like that. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Like the freaking beetle drones are pretty overplayed, but at the same time, it's not a bad overplayed. It's like classic Samurai Jack. So like beetle drones maybe.
And that sound they make when they walk, so
other
iconic.
cult members, high priestess and stuff. Could be.
Yeah. And that kind of brings me back to the Blue Guardian. I think that he'll show up with the army. Like I think he could be dead for sure, but I feel like because he doesn't seem to be like a normal human. I think you mentioned in one of your videos he might be some sort of demigod because he's been guarding this thing for eons. So I think that he can completely be dead. I'm not like ruling that out because I think that it'd be pretty clear if that was it. That's all they mentioned of him, that he was just dead right there. But I could see him showing up and then playing a role later. I think that since he's been guarding that portal for eons, that he might have been put there by Jack's ancestors to guard it for Jack in the future, which could be very interesting. And I think that he could relay a message to Jack from his ancestors in some way. Maybe they told him to tell Jack something if the portal ended up getting destroyed or something like that and he had no way to get back home. Maybe his ancestors told the Guardian that it's okay, just defeat Aku and we'll like rest in peace or something like that. Again, it's very likely that the Guardian's dead, and this is just speculation, but
it's interesting for sure. I'm leaning towards him being dead more though.
Yeah,
like,
I definitely am too. I'm just throwing it out there for anyone who wants to, think about that. But
it's interesting. It is. But how does it explain really the portal being destroyed and like the glasses? Because he fought Jack and like his glasses stayed on. So whoever he fought would have to have been stronger than Jack.
I could see a scenario where like he's fighting Aku and obviously can't win because he doesn't have anything that can harm Aku. And he gets his like glasses knocked off during the fight and he's just fighting him. And the portal gets destroyed and he's like, okay, well, there goes my life mission. I'm just going to run away. And he gets away from Aku. I don't know. But again, I think he's dead.
Seems unlikely.
I definitely think he is dead, though.
And you said you think he's dead anyway, so yeah, it's food for thought for sure. But I guess we both think he's dead. I mean, I think Gendy handled that really well. Like, let's assume he is dead.
Yeah.
Like that would go down in really like two ways. Like you see the Guardian's body there, and then you have the like really nitpicky fans saying like, oh, how's his body there? It's been like hundreds of years or so. Like Aku hasn't been active, so his body should have been rotted away. Or you do like what I think Gendy did, since I think he's dead. Like you show the broken glasses, you show the portal destroyed, and in a way that's even like more emotionally impacting than like showing the body. It's like you don't even need to see his body there. You just see the glasses and
well, that
and, like,
and
oh, man, poor
remember
Guardian,
when the Scotsman got vaporized, he got turned to dust. So if the Guardian got vaporized, he'd be dust too. So there'd be no body.
True. If you beat him the same way.
Yeah.
Could be.
So yeah, that's kind of what I thought about the army. And do you want to share anything more about your thoughts on the army? How it's going to play out?
Not really. I mean, yeah, it's Three Blind Archers said we'd be there for you. Scotsman said like, oh, already people are like rallying against you. Did he even say like by the hundreds or something? Like I don't know, maybe I'm remembering that wrong. But he said, he said like people are rallying against you.
But I think if Jack had an army of friends, I think they'd be pretty well stocked of like good warriors. Should be very fun to watch.
It should. At the same time, the Scotsman's people are pretty strong too, and they got like one shot by Aku. So, it's gonna need to be a really good army.
So the thing is,
catch him by surprise or something. Or it
that
depends on
battle,
Aku's mood too. Like back then, Aku didn't even want to like deal with anything, so he's like, okay, giant ball form, crush everybody, get it over with, screw it. We've seen Aku fight differently before. He's like, okay, I'm gonna turn into like a scorpion. I'm gonna turn into a spider. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna take over like
I hope he
all
turns
these
into
dead
Scorpion
like
again. I love that stuff.
yeah.
Like it's so visually appealing.
Like callbacks to the older episodes and stuff.
Oh yeah,
that would be
really
epic.
Cool.
So yeah, it depends on a lot of things.
Something I should mention is I don't think any of the Scotsman's daughters actually died in that battle. I think it was just like the tank stuff. I could be wrong.
No, you're right.
I don't think any of the daughters died though.
None of them died. Yeah.
So yeah, that covers that, and all that's really left is how we think the series will conclude. Like how the state of the world will be. Like, will he return to the past? Will he just hang out in the future? Because he literally, like, I guess basically the question is he going to be presented an option to return to the past? Or is it just going to be, I'm stuck here, let me make a better future? I kind of want to hear your thoughts about that.
Yeah, it's tough to say on that one. Because if all the portals are destroyed, how could he really go back to the past? Unless that, like, Ashi theory is right, and Ashi can do that for him.
That or the gods.
Or the gods, right. So, it's tough to say. What I'm leaning towards is that he stays in the future. I think, I don't know if I mentioned this during the Omen segment or not, but I think I did kind of, like, talk about most of the stuff. But I hope he sees his, like, mother, his father, maybe like some of the other ancestors, so to speak. Like he makes peace with them. They say it's okay for you to stay. He stays in that time. And then, it either fulfills the Guardian's prophecy, the portal prophecy of like King Jack, or alternatively, if that whole thing is retconned, I'm fine with that too. Because, Jack doesn't really seem like the kind of guy that would even really want to be a king, to be honest. Like he's a very humble guy. He would just be happy to have saved everybody and like live a peaceful rest of the life after fighting for so long. So either way that goes down isn't entirely important as long as he's happy and stays in the I think he stays in that time and makes peace with his ancestors.
I think
what about you?
I think the opportunity will present itself for him to go back just as a sort of like emotional scene where he you see him feel for the family in the past, but I think he'll decide to stay regardless. And build a better future. And like you said, it'd be great if we got some sort of like just scene with his father talking to him. I think that'd be very emotional and well done because his father's a really wise man, and I think it'd be very cool to hear. I think it'd be very cool to see him just kind of talk to Jack one last time. I don't know, because we saw some flashbacks earlier in the season of his father, so obviously Gendy knows that his father is important to Jack, like from an emotional level, because that's Jack's idol. That's who he personifies and everything about himself, like how he cares about himself.
Yeah, he's a good guy. That guy was a really good guy.
And he's a badass, too. He kicks so much ass. In his
yeah. He did. He did. He even had like a flying Nimbus.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. That's freaking crazy. He was a boss. He was a straight-up boss. But I think he's ultimately going to stay. And I think that regarding King Jack, I think King Jack is actually going to live. And just here's all I have to say about it. I don't think he's going to be like... I don't think it's going to look the exact same, but I think because once they defeat Aku and destroy his army or whatever, it's going to be up to Jack to rebuild the world. And there's all these cities where these corrupt mercenaries and different things going on, and he's going to have to like either send them off the planet or like help bring them into the light in like a good way. And I think at the very...
I hope that's what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at the very last scene, light, not just like send them away off the planet. Then
that'd be kind of
like evil. Yeah.
But there's definitely going to be like some evil people he's going to have to fight because there's a lot of like magical evil creatures that Aku's brought to the planet. And I think that's why he looks so battle torn in that King Jack photo. He's got like scars and stuff. I think that's going to be him.
I see what you said. No, I got you. Yeah.
Okay. I think that might be like the final scene of like Samurai Jack, like him just freeing the world from all this stuff and him just kind of posing. I hope that's not the final scene though. I hope the final scene is him with like a kid with Ashi or something. But I don't know.
Yeah, there's like that classic like like pretty much most of the fandom is speculating, I think, or at least most of the fandom that cares to speculate, I should say, is speculating that like it'll kind of play full circle, right? Like you'll have Jack telling the story to his kid, which is like the same thing that Bruce doing to him. That seems like that's a pretty good ending there. It is. And the cool thing about the King Jack thing, a lot of us like the beard, so that would bring the beard back. Yeah, honestly, he looks sick with that beard.
I rewatched the episodes the other day, and I love the design of bearded Jack, like his ruggedness. It's so cool. It is. I love the old school Jack, but there's something special about bearded Jack. I think it's just pretty OG.
There, yeah, yeah, well said. The classic Jack is classic, but the bearded Jack was just totally badass. It was.
Yeah.
Sucks we probably won't get the form of like Jack bloody with the beard with the sword like that.
Yeah.
What was it like the trailer picture?
The promotional art for like when it was revealed.
That one.
I hope one day that like release like a print of that, because I'd buy that and hang it on my wall.
Yeah, that one is sick for sure.
If Gendy could sign it, that'd be cool too. But I'll never meet him.
The only last thing I'll say about the King Jack thing is like when Gendy was creating that, like the episodes back then and stuff, he said in an interview that he wasn't even thinking about like an ending to the show at that point. So it was just kind of something he did. So if it ends up to be the case where like King Jack really is fulfilled, that's like really awesome on his part, because he like managed to kind of like keep that idea and like actually make it work in a really smart way. Yeah. So that'd be like really well played on his part.
I also want to mention something while everyone's still listening. I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for you or like any other fan. A lot of people feel that this season feels kind of rushed at certain points, that the story isn't told very well. I just want to say that he's had the idea in his mind of how this show should end since about 2008. I think that's what he said in one of his interviews. That's when he originally had this idea of him meeting Ashi and everything. And as in regards of only having 22 minutes left, I think that he's done a very good job throughout the first 9 episodes, and I think he can do a very good job in the finale, especially because he cares so much. Because at the end of the day, he's the biggest fan of all of us, because he made this. So I don't know. I think we should just give him the benefit of the doubt and just believe that it'll turn out to be pretty good. A lot of people are worried that it's only 22 minutes or whatever it is. So that's just my 2 cents.
I agree. I agree with you. There's something I wanted to say though, and you said like some people were saying it was rushed, and do you remember what you said right there?
Yeah, I said some people thought that like some of the romance or the story felt a little bit rushed toward the second half of the season.
Okay, so I don't agree about that. I do agree that it's kind of rushed, but not like, how should I put this? Basically, let's see anybody do a better job of what he's doing in only 10 episodes, 22 minutes per episode. It's almost an impossible thing to do. So I think with that time constraint, he's done A+++++. Like he's done extremely well, like extremely good job. I don't think he could have really done a better job with those time constraints. It's actually really amazing what he's pulled off.
Exactly.
I really don't feel like it's like, let me put it this way. Here's what I'll say. I don't feel like it's rushed. I feel like he was kind of like he needs to kind of rush, to fit everything in, and I think he's fitting everything in without rushing it. If that makes sense, like
no,
I don't know,
perfect
I felt
way
like,
of saying it.
Yeah. I felt like it was all really well played. The only thing I would have liked a little bit more, the only thing that I will say I feel might be slightly rushed is the Scotsman, just because we haven't seen him. We had that one scene, we haven't seen him since. And it would have been nice. I would have been happy even with like even just a 1 or 2 minute scene of the Scotsman at some point before here, where he was like maybe starting to rally, like maybe not even like rally the troops, but maybe he was like going around talking to some people, kind of throwing the idea out there. There's a few reasons why that might not be the case. Maybe he just wants to be a big surprise.
I agree. The Scotsman should have been in a little bit more to this point, but also I think it's like this. At the end of the day, this is Jack's story that needs to be concluded, and I think that if you take any time away from that, even like a few minutes, it might like detract. Like in my mind, I can't think of any scene that I would take from Jack to give to the Scotsman. Like not that the Scotsman doesn't deserve time, because he absolutely does, because he's a boss and a badass and everyone loves him. But it's like I can't think of any even downtime between like Jack and Ashi or just Jack by himself that I would take to like substitute for it.
Yeah,
but,
no, I mean, like Gendy definitely could do a better job than I would, but if I had more time to think about that, I could probably give you an answer, to be honest. Like I'm sure I could find like a 1 minute area where we could take something away from some character and put in like a Scotsman scene. But it seems like this is leading up, like I was kind of getting at, like it seems like it's going to lead up to a scene where the Scotsman is just kind of like, I'm here to save you, like with the whole army, like return the favor from when you helped me save my wife back in the day.
I just hope that we get a genuinely nice scene between the Scotsman and Jack. I hope they just don't like interact at all, because that'd be poopy.
That would
because they're best friends in a way. Like if Jack ever had one friend other than Ashi that this whole time, it was the Scotsman. So like I hope they handle that well. I think you will, but
yeah, I agree.
Last point I'll make before we wrap this up is I mentioned this in an older video, but the way Gendy tells these stories of Samurai Jack, it's it's in a way that's visual heavy and not like talking heavy. So I think that they say a picture paints a thousand words. I think that's how he fills up some of this like rushed nature of it. He expects like the visuals to tell more of a story than words ever can. So that leaves interpretation up to the people viewing. And,
For sure. Good point.
I think because otherwise there'd be a lot of talking if people wanted a lot of more just straight up answers between Ashi and Jack's relationship or how Jack's feeling. So if you wanted that way to make it feel less rushed, I feel like that's not a good way to go. I think the way they do the visuals and the silence when them staring at each other, I think that's the best way to do it because that's true to Samurai Jack's roots, and it lets the viewer interpret it to themselves as to how they feel about it.
I agree 100%. Like, I don't want to make it go there, but since we're on the topic, like, yeah, the relationship thing was kind of like, you could feel the vibe if you were really like paying attention to those visual cues, like you said. Yeah, ever since episode 4 in the Primordial Beast, like the vibe was there, and not even like just the relationship, but other things like that was kind of being hinted at. Like that was a really good way that you put it, saying like the visual cues that Genny likes to use. Totally true. I mean, like back in the day, we had some episodes of Jack where he didn't even have a single line, right?
Yeah,
like,
definitely. And there was
stuff.
literally like Tale of X9. He had 10 seconds in an episode. Like he didn't say any words at all, but it was just like music and things telling the story. So,
well said, yeah.
And I was one of those people that like up until episode 5, I was hoping for a father-daughter relationship. Not because I didn't think it'd be okay for a romantic relationship. I just thought it'd be kind of a fresh change of pace for like an apprentice / like father-daughter type of thing. But I changed my view, and I did it without any sort of resistance to it whatsoever, because I started to realize just what direction he was going in and how he was doing it, and I thought it was very well done, and I was perfectly okay with shifting my views on it. So yes, I was wrong. I admit I was wrong. But to be fair, up until like episode 5, there was no like definite scene where they said they were going that direction. Like they're implying several times, but I guess I was just holding out. But after episode 6 and 7, I was like, there's no way. They're definitely romantic.
Yeah, it's needed this way for the story too. It really is.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't really want to go into the whole thing because that could be like a whole 30-minute conversation on that topic alone, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I think we did a pretty good job covering this, though. Like what our thoughts on the finale would be. It goes without saying.
Indeed.
It goes without saying we both think Aku's going to be defeated. At least in the future. Like, I don't think there's a scenario where we don't think Aku won't get defeated, because I don't know, that'd be too weird.
Yeah. You got to close the story out if he wants to move on. Then the Aku got to be R.I.P. Sorry, buddy. I almost feel bad for the guy, to be honest. But
there's so many
totally
people online.
Guy,
like
so
I'm gonna cry when Aku dies. Like,
yeah, it is kind of sad. Like. Well, you know what? The last thing, let's talk about really quick. Really quick.
Okay.
Interesting how once Aku was like separated from his original form, he took on this more like human kind of appearance and stuff. Like when he was first being fought by the gods in space, he was just like this black mass, and then when he fell to Earth, he was like a tree, kind of like these spiky things, and then he became like Aku after the arrow scene. I don't think there's ever been like anything Genny said about that. Like the only thing I know is like one person asked him like, why did the arrow like catch on fire and turn Aku into the form he is? And Gendy said, honestly, I don't remember because that was like 10 years ago.
Huh.
So I don't know. What do you think? Really quick.
If I had to guess, Aku in his original state was pure. It's the personification of darkness, like evil. That's why they call him like the Shogun of Sorrow, the Master of Masters, I guess, because it's just like Aku translated to Japanese, I think, is evil. If I'm correct, it's just like it's pure evil. I could be wrong. Feel free to correct me. But when that little piece of him like got chopped off and landed on Earth, I don't know if that was just like, I don't know. Maybe it was the arrow that gave him like a personality, or maybe he always had it, but since he was just floating through space and he had no reason to talk to gods, he was just, I don't know. It is very interesting.
It is. Huh. Yeah. All right. It makes sense. Like that's what I was thinking too. He's just like this negative energy, but even with my thoughts on that, I still kind of like wonder why he's more humanoid after that. But anyways, good conversation for sure, man.
Definitely. Really appreciate you deciding to talk with me on this, because I figured your input was very valuable, and it'd be a lot of fun to bounce it off someone.
Yeah, it is. It is. I would like to go longer, but yeah, I got to go to work soon, and yeah, the video is like 35 minutes long, so I think we definitely hit most of the stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to talk down below as to what you guys thought. We'll make sure to drop in and chat and engage with you guys in conversation. So
Absolutely, and depending on whose channel you're viewing this on, there'll be a link at the bottom. Check out the other person's Mighty Gazelle.
for sure.
And, of course, mine, too.
So, yeah. Until next time, this has been Mighty Gazelle.
And Hero Hei.
Hope you all have a mighty day. Talk to
Take
you guys
care.
later.